Good afternoon, students. Here we start with the gross anatomy lecture of the peritoneal foci or recesses. So this is a very important and interesting topic of short questions in which 1 mark question answers or MCQs, lot of MCQs and 1 mark question answers are asked based upon this topic. This is the peritoneal foci, or it is also known as peritoneal recesses. So peritoneal foci or peritoneal recesses. First, the definition. Basically, what is peritoneal foci or what is peritoneal recesses? It is defined as small inconstant pockets of peritoneum which are lined by inconstant folds of peritoneum. So these peritoneal foci or recesses, peritoneal recesses, they are small inconstant cavities, peritoneal small cavities, which are enclosed by inconstant folds of peritoneum. So all of them, they are small pockets of the peritoneal cavity present at certain places which are enclosed by inconstant folds of peritoneum. This is the proper definition. So after understanding this definition, where are they located? They are mostly located at those places where there are junctions between absorbed and unabsorbed parts of the mesenteries. For example, such as they are classified into 4 different varieties. What are those varieties? Number 1, lesser sac. Lesser sac is one of the peritoneal foci or one of the peritoneal recesses. It is one of the largest, it is the largest peritoneal foci or recesses rather. Lesser sac. Then, second classification, the duodenal recesses, which we are going to discuss in detail. There are so many duodenal recesses, around 6 of them, and all of them are very important. They are asked, all of them are asked in 1 mark question answer or in MCQs. So various duodenal recesses which are present around the duodenum. Third category, third classification of these peritoneal foci or recesses. Example, cecal recesses. They are present around the cecum, or rather iliocecal junction, cecal recesses. And the last one, fourth one, intersigmoid recess. The fourth one, intersigmoid recess, which is present just behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon. Each and every recess we need to understand, we need to remember it, where they are present. Lesser sac we have discussed in a separate lecture. Previous lectures were there of lesser sac, part 1, part 2, even part 3. Now we are straight away starting with duodenal recesses. The peritoneal foci or the peritoneal recesses which are present around the duodenum, they are classified into duodenal recesses, and these duodenal recesses, as I told you, they are around 6 of them. Each one of them, you have to remember 2 points regarding each of them. And what are those points? We are going to discuss with the help of a diagram. For example, here we will show presence of duodenum, first part, second part, once again first and second part, third horizontal part, and then the fourth part. So this is how the duodenum is present. First part, second part, third part, fourth part of the duodenum. And here I will mention this as duodenum. Now we come to duodenal foci or recesses. The first one, superior duodenal recess. So I am going to show, at this level I am going to show the superior duodenal recess. And here I will mention it as superior duodenal recess. Now this superior duodenal recess is present in 50% of the subjects. So we have to remember this 50%, it is present in 50% of the subjects. The orifice of this recess is looking downwards. It is facing downwards. That point also we need to understand. The orifice is facing downwards. And it is present in 50% of the subjects. This is known as superior duodenal recess. 50%. The entire peritoneal fossa or recesses, as I had told you previously, they are present in such places where embryologically there is junction between absorbed and unabsorbed parts of the mesentery. So therefore, these fossa and recesses, majority of them, all of them are present in fetus during embryonic stage, during fetal stage. And even they will persist even after birth for some period of time. Gradually in adult life, they will disappear, but not all of them. Some of them will persist. Out of some of them which will persist, we are giving the numbers over here. 50%. Superior duodenal recess is present in 50% of the subjects. Similarly, second recess, here we show inferior duodenal recess. So here I will mention this as inferior duodenal recess. The apex is pointing upwards. This point also you need to mention. It is present in 75% of the subjects. So inferior duodenal recess present in 75% of the subjects. Apex pointing upwards. Recess number 2 of the duodenal recesses. Superior duodenal recess number 1, number 2 inferior duodenal recess, number 3 paraduodenal recess. The paraduodenal recess here you show in this way. This is paraduodenal recess with apex, not apex but the orifice. It is not apex but orifice. The orifice facing towards the right. Superior duodenal recess, the orifice facing downwards. Inferior duodenal recess, the orifice facing upwards. And paraduodenal recess, the orifice facing towards the right. Now, this paraduodenal recess is present in 20% of the subjects. So, it is present in 20% of the subjects. And here, this is frequently asked MCQ or 1 mark question answer because there is presence of one vein which is present in its free margin of the peritoneum. The free margin is covered by a peritoneal fold. And of course, these recesses are nothing but inconstant folds of peritoneum. So, in its free margin of peritoneal fold, there is a vein which is known as inferior mesenteric vein. And that vein we need to show the inferior mesenteric vein. Here I will show this is the inferior mesenteric vein. And here we can mark this as inferior mesenteric vein. So, this is asked as MCQ or 1 mark question answer. In paraduodenal recess, in its free peritoneal fold, free peritoneal margin, there is presence of inferior mesenteric vein. That much. So that is recess number 3 of the duodenal recesses. Now recess number 4, which is present here. And that recess is known as retroduodenal recess because some part of that recess is lying behind the 4th part. So if you draw that recess, here, this is the recess, and this recess is called retroduodenal recess. Here I will write the name retroduodenal recess. It is present occasionally. So it is present occasionally in the subjects, and it is the specialty of this recess is that it is the biggest of the duodenal recesses. This recess will be the biggest of duodenal recesses, retroduodenal recess, but it is present occasionally in the subjects. So recess number 4, retroduodenal recess with its orifice facing towards the left. Now recess number 5. Recess number 5 will be located over here. You draw it in this way, and this is how the orifice will be downwards to the right. The name of this recess, duodenojejunal recess. So it is known as duodenojejunal recess. Recess number 5 is duodenojejunal recess, present at the level of duodenojejunal junction, and orifice is facing downwards to the right. Recess number 5, duodenojejunal recess, orifice facing downwards to the right. Recess number 6, the last one, which is present here, and it is known as, at this level I will draw, and this recess is known as mesenterico-parietal fossa. So it is known as the mesenterico-parietal fossa, the name of this recess. Where is it located? It is located in the upper part of the mesentery, and we know that the root of mesentery is crossing this horizontal part of the duodenum. So here, if you show the root of mesentery, this is what we are showing, the root of the mesentery. So the mesenterico-parietal fossa, or the recess that is a part of duodenal recess, number 6, sixth recess. So mesenterico-parietal fossa is present where? In upper part of the mesentery. And now the most important segment. In this fold, since it is covered by the fold of peritoneum, it will contain superior mesenteric vessels. That is very important. So here we show the presence of superior mesenteric vessels. So in mesenterico-parietal fossa, there will be presence of superior mesenteric vessels, and this recess is located in the upper part of the root of the mesentery. The orifice is facing, the orifice will face towards the left. It is facing towards the left. So here we finish total 6 duodenal recesses. Superior duodenal recess, inferior duodenal recess, paraduodenal recess, retroduodenal recess. And see the orifices where they are facing. Superior duodenal recess facing, orifice facing downwards. Inferior duodenal recess, orifice facing upwards. The paraduodenal recess, orifice facing towards the right. And retroduodenal recess, the orifice facing towards the left. And then number 5, duodenojejunal recess, orifice facing downwards to the right. And mesenterico-parietal fossa, that is recess number 6, orifice facing to the left. So here we have completed all the duodenal recesses and their specialized important points. Now we come to cecal recess. So in order to understand this cecal recess, for example, in the cecal recess, please come on this side here. If we draw the cecum, and here we show the terminal portion of ileum. So this is the cecum, this is the ileum, and this junction is ileocolic junction. 3 cecal recesses are there. So therefore, the first one will be present here, and this recess is known as superior ileocecal recess. Here I will give the name superior ileocecal recess. It is directed downwards to the left, It is also covered by a fold of peritoneum, where it will have a vascular fold. Why vascular fold? Because it has the presence of artery. There is one artery which is in relation to this superior ileocecal recess, and that artery will be a branch of ileocolic artery. So therefore, there will be presence of this artery. And the name of this artery will be anterior cecal artery, which is a branch of ileocolic artery. Anterior cecal artery, branch of ileocolic artery. So here you can name this as anterior cecal artery, which is a branch of ileocolic artery. So superior ileocecal recess has a vascular fold which has the presence of branch of ileocolic artery, that is anterior cecal artery. The orifice of this recess will be projecting downwards and to the left. Now over here, below the ileocecal junction, you can draw another recess. This is above the ileocecal junction, superior ileocecal recess. Now inferior ileocecal recess. The orifice once again facing downwards to the left. Name of this recess, so here you can mention this as inferior ileocecal recess. Orifice facing downwards to the left. And what is the speciality of this? Here the peritoneal fold is completely non-vascular. So the other name of that peritoneal fold, which is covering the inferior ileocecal recess, is known as, this sentence is very important because it is many times asked in MCQs or 1 mark question answer, and that is, it is covered by the bloodless fold of Treves, Treves, and this is known as bloodless fold of Treves, because it is a non-vascular fold of peritoneum which is covering this recess, so it is called bloodless fold of Treves. That much you need to write down. Inferior ileocecal recess. So sometimes MCQs are asked, which of the following recesses is associated with bloodless fold of Treves? Inferior ileocecal recess. Third recess and the final one related to this will be, here I will draw in dot because this is known as retrocecal recess. It is present behind the cecum. Just behind the cecum, this recess will be known as retrocecal recess. And here, and write the name over here, it is known as retrocecal recess. Present behind the cecum. Where is the orifice facing? The orifice of this will be facing downwards. Retrocecal recess, the orifice is facing downwards. What is present in this retrocecal recess? Sometimes there is presence of appendix, the vestigial structure. Appendix is present here in retrocecal recess. So here we finish all the 3 cecal recesses. Now we come to, please come on this side, here we are having space. Now we are coming to the last recess, that is intersigmoid recess. So here if I just show the sigmoid colon, sigmoid colon, and then if I want to show the mesocolon, we know that the sigmoid mesocolon has an apex. This is the apex of sigmoid mesocolon, which is located at left ureter. Behind this apex, behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon, is the presence of intersigmoid recess. So intersigmoid recess is located behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon. Please note down. And this will be known as intersigmoid recess. Behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon, with its apex, with its orifice looking downwards. So this is the last recess, intersigmoid recess, behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon. And here this structure is sigmoid mesocolon. So behind the apex of sigmoid mesocolon is the presence of intersigmoid recess, the last of the peritoneal foci or peritoneal recesses. What is the applied anatomy of this entire peritoneal foci or recesses? Please come on this side. Now here we have finished the intersigmoid recess also. All these recesses, what is the applied anatomy of this entire peritoneal foci or recesses? The applied anatomy will be, many times there will be internal hernia which occurs in these foci and recesses. So just you can mention, simply mention in applied anatomy, internal herniation. Internal hernia, so many cases of internal hernia which occurs within these foci and recesses. And because of that hernia, there may be cases of strangulation also. This much is the applied anatomy with respect to these peritoneal foci or recesses. So we have finished the entire classification of the peritoneal foci and recesses. With this we end our entire topic of peritoneum. Thank you very much.